The hunt begins. We've got a foot of snow on the ground. This is not what we're used to for deer hunting. Awesome. Well, didn't find any deer, no deer tracks. Now we're seeing if we can get out of this snow that's 12 to 15 inches deep. Looks like Colt's having no problem at all. So off we go out of the mountain. There had been a bunch of does out there, but something scared them. They took off elsewhere. So anyway, we're just sitting here watching this area, that hillside out there, hoping that some other deer show up that have antlers. Been listening to the turkeys talking down there. They've been quite noisy. We didn't find any bucks today, but we saw a bunch of does and some turkeys. Had a good time seeing the mountains and being outdoors. I'm off on day number 2. I'm gonna follow this power line trail. See if I can find anything. I found a little buck out there along the power line trail. Little 2-point. He's out of my range with my rifle and my pistol. Open sights. But I'll see what I can do to close the gap. Shoot. I don't really think I can sneak up on him because he's already seen me, but maybe I can get closer. We'll just see what happens. At least I've seen a buck now. Okay, there's 2 bucks out there. A 2-point and I think a spike. They're headed into the trees this way. Actually, one of them's looking at me right now. Well, that didn't take long. They took off. I heard something else over there. The 2 little bucks were 40 yards away in the trees there. And they took off that way, so I guess I'll see what I can find. Well, I didn't catch up to those bucks again. I saw a couple does. Had a great hike. And now I'm going to go see if I can find some cell service and contact Colt and see what he's found. I decided to come down to the creek and the lake and do some fishing. Never been down here before. Looks pretty. Fishing was good. Got a really nice one. Time for lunch. Back to my last season's kill area. Back where me and Colt watched a bunch of does and a bunch of turkeys. And see if there's anything worth watching this evening, and if not, I'll go back up to where I saw those 2 bucks this morning. I'm off on another morning's hunt. Just saw a bunch of does heading up that way. Still haven't seen any horns yet this morning. I can finally get a deer on video during my deer hunt. Right there. She's just obviously watching me. I've talked to her a little bit and waved hi. I asked her if she has a big boyfriend around here somewhere, and she hasn't responded. I finally found a little 2-point, and I missed him. He's probably 120 yards away, and I was almost standing on tiptoe trying to thread my bullet through a hole in the trees. And I was shaking because I'd been stalking him for a little bit. I'm disappointed that I missed, but that sure was fun to try. Try to make sure my tires stay up, stay usable. I sure like that little bump. Getting ready to go push the timber for the last couple hours of daylight today. I'm tired. This has been quite the hunting trip. Move on, check out my other spots. Although as soon as I started heading that way, I did hear a couple shots from that direction, so hope somebody didn't shoot any buck that might be waiting there for me. Well, I was headed to my next spot, but now I have to wait on traffic. I couldn't stand waiting in the traffic jam since I've only got 30 minutes of light left and I want to use it to hunt, not sit around in the middle of the road. So I'm heading to a different area. End of day 3. No more deer. Hopefully I'll kill something in the morning. Morning of day number 4. I'm in a new area, one I've never been in before. See what happens. I've pretty much quit worrying about sneaking. And the deer's just standing there looking at me as I go. Since my hunting has been going longer than anticipated, I made a run up here to Manila to get some groceries. And since this is one of the more exciting things, for lack of a better word, that's happened on my trip, I figured I'd document it. Checking out some new territory, looking over the Sheep Creek drainage. So I just got word from my cousin that he killed a buck in Clay Basin. So I'm going to leave the gorge area and go that way and see if I can find something. Hopefully this will be a little better experience and a little more interesting than, oh, I went to thus and such place and didn't see anything. Oh, didn't see anything at that other place either. Let me try this other one. Well, didn't see anything but those there either. So hopefully I get some real action this time. And I'm stuck waiting on traffic again. Got some pine nuts here that need eating. I caught sight of some deer half a mile away. The sun's going down. I have no idea if they have antlers or not, but I'm going to run over there and check it out. I finally caught up to him. I think they're all does. I made a good effort to get up here anyway. Oh well. There's a red fox running around out there. Just got back to my truck and saw something running off, but it wasn't thumping, and I thought, oh, that's a coyote. I went to shoot it and went, oh no, that's a red fox. Cool, I'll let him go. The end of day 4. No antlers today, but I'm in some new territory, so hopefully in the morning I will find a buck or several bucks and shoot one, harvest it. It is blowing like a hurricane outside, and I think I'm gonna just put my sleeping bag on the truck seat and sleep here tonight. I finally did it. I finally got a deer. I just came back here to the truck to drop off my rifle and get my camera stand and get some more plastic bags and stuff so I can bring the package the heart and liver up and bring it out. Anyway, I have yet to get him, and I'll fill you in on the rest of the story in a while. Here he be. He's a whopper. But I am so glad to have him. I worked hard for this little buck. Knives are important for a lot of things, but one of the most important ones, at least in my opinion, is notching your carcass tag. Now for the rest of the story. So last night I was really discouraged because I'd been hunting hard, hadn't been able to get anything. I'd missed one buck and wondered if my chances were gone. Last night, parked up on top of the mountain, the wind was ripping all night long, and this morning it still was. So I wasn't very excited to get out and about, but I did anyway. And I was looking for a place to glass down here, looking at this water, and hoping to find some deer going back up the ridge from getting them a drink. I guess I was looking more for a good vantage point rather than a place to sit, because I sat in the cactus and that didn't do anything to improve my mood. And I had to chase my hat down because it blew off my head, and so I ran it down and got it collected and stuffed it in my coat because it wasn't going to stay on top of my head with all that wind. And I looked around some more, pushed around in that cove up there, trying to jump something out. Didn't find anything. I went to hike back uphill and I got warm going back to the truck, so I unzipped my coats and forgot about my hat, and it fell out, and it's probably still up there somewhere. Anyway, I was really discouraged at that point, and I hadn't wanted to video anymore because I was so discouraged and frustrated with things. So now you're getting the story afterward. But anyway, I drove down the mountain and cooked some breakfast, had some bacon and eggs. Felt a little bit better after that. I parked the truck right here and decided that I would go over there, hike up along that rock cliff and look around in the cedars, see if I could see anything. I didn't up in there, but when I turned around and came back here, lo and behold, there were 4 deer right here 25 yards from the truck, and one of them was a buck. So since I was still over there across the road, I started scurrying over this way, and the deer went bouncing off up over the hill into the sage. And I came over here to the truck and swapped out my open sight 30-30 for the scope 270 and took off after him. And I got within 250 yards or so, and I didn't have anything to shoot across, to rest on. I thought, well, here's a relatively stable sagebush. I'll try it. I made a clean miss, and they kind of jumped around and were looking around, what's going on? I shot again, and another clean miss, and by this time I was shaking, and I thought, okay, I gotta regroup and settle down. And the deer started wandering up a draw. They kind of went out of sight. I followed them, and this time I was able to find a rock to lean across. And it was, if I put my trigger guard, when I put my trigger guard on the rock, it was just high enough to clear the grass and stuff around. And the buck turned mostly broadside to me, and I started to squeeze off the round, and the gun went off, and I lost him in the scope, but I instantly knew I'm going to hear a thud. And sure enough, I heard a whop. And looked back through the scope trying to find him, and I watched him run, bounce down into the trees and disappear, and I went up, and I didn't know how well I'd hit him. I just knew that I hit. But he was piled up under that tree right where I showed you, and that was the end of my hunt.